To the castle. So you want to go to the castle. Good idea. All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in that castles once they're beleaguered put upon heroines, put upon heroines are finally able to wed the handsome princes they once dreamed of. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may very well be deserted, or the village will be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? It's far better to skip the suffering and go straight to grand finale. And this kind of is a finale for me, seemingly. That's very astute of you. I didn't realize that you had in to be so mercenary. I can only wonder what you will uncover during your moonlight meanderings. And it's far from over, and your adventures are only just beginning. I hope that you have brushed up on your courtesies. They might come in handy when one is interacting with sovereign. Royals can be temperamental, after all. If you fail to treat them with a prerequisite amount of respect, you might just come to regret it. You follow the path which leads to the castle, pouring yourself upon weary, inky legs, which feel like ready to, at a moment's notice, to detach from your hips. You're little more than a wisp of a girl. You've been running for so very long, and your feet are so very numb. You feel like a great lumbering thing, clumsy and ungainly. Your soles of feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down and quickly. You only hope that as you continue to run, you'll find a spare room available to you in the castle. You don't know what exactly will await in the castle, but you have visions as you run on a vast, opulent dwelling. This dwelling will surely be full of finely furnished rooms in which you might rest your weary head. There must also be a king and queen inside the castle, you ponder, who will be kind and wise. And what of the children? What of a princess? Every castle must possess a princess who will take pity on you and your plight. You can imagine the face of this generous princess with ease, thanks to the fairy tales you read in the abundance of this small child. Princess will be a fair hair and blue of eyes, and soft pink lips, pursed like rosebuds. Her lips will be slender, and her hands dainty and unsullied from physical labor, and sensibilities will be sweeter than marzipan. She'll be kind to you and compassionate, just like an older sister. You don't know what older sisters are like, though, or the younger sisters for that matter. You're only guessing. You're not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Monarchs do not, as you know, from voracious reading, have the best track record when it comes to caring for peasantry. Was there never not a very famous queen who once said, with a cavalier wave of her hand, that the hungry peasants in their kingdom should content themselves with cake if bread is not an option? Yes, I did hear that. I'm a mere lunatic, but very well. I love those books. Moon Empire. You think you might be a misquote, but the point still stands. Those rules are supposed to grant their subjects secure in their time of need. This does not always happen. In fact, it very rarely happens. Kings and queens and princes are just people at the end of the day, and they are subject to the same caprices that all humans are. They can also be careless and selfish and inconsiderate. There's no guarantee that this mythical princess of yours' imagination will help you. But there's no guarantee that the mythical princess will exist at all. Still, you must try. Is this hope that keeps you moving? You continue to run to the castle. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally you do. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time has begun to lose all meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. It's so cold, though, and it's foggy, and very, very dark. The sun is yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the castle, which looms in front of you like a cliffside. The stone edifice in the building is imposing, and drowns you in a shadow darker than the depths of the deepest ocean. The castle is not all dark, though, not like the night sky above it. When you crane your head, you can see that there are lights filtering within, and the narrow slitted windows. It'll appear that somebody is home. The king and queen, perhaps. What of their servants? But perhaps, or more pressingly, of their guards. You have to expect as you stand there, the armored knights will accost you for daring to approach the castle of King and Queen so-and-so. You don't know your place, foolish peasant girl with a dirty skirt. Be gone with you. You're not, of course, a peasant. Your family is a wealthy one. Or rather, they were before your family admitted series of poor financial decisions. You don't look like a young lady right now, though, with your dirty face and dirty skirt, which is torn at the hem. If any guards were to take you for a vagrant, it would not be surprising. But though you stand there dithering, your filthy fingers hooked in front of you, your filthy skirt, you do not hear any cries. Nobody sounds the alarm. Lights might be on the inside of the castle, but there's nobody outside the perimeter standing near sentry. There's nobody to impede your entry, and the elaborate iron gate, which are set in the vast stone or wall exterior, are open, just a crack. It'll be a trivial matter to slip inside. There's nobody to stop you. Why? Why are you trembling now, you silly thing? You have come so very far. It will be act foolish to turn around now. Go on now. Go on. Go. You inhale, perhaps in an attempt to screw up your courage, with which has at long last begun to fail you. And then you step forward. You slide between the wrought iron gates, as stealthy as secretive as a thief. You cross a path which leads up to the tall, imposing structure. The dome doorway which leads to the inside the castle itself, filled with stone from stone, is closed. By the push of your palm, it swings inward. The door creaks alarmingly as it opens, the sound loud enough to split the silence like a thunderclap. You inhale at this and glance around, your eyes darting hither and thither. If there are any guards posted by the castle's grounds, they should all have been alerted by that sound. Will they come for you at long last? Will they perhaps what will happen should they catch you? Will they throw you in a dungeon? Does not sound like a pleasant way to spend a night. At least you would have a roof over your head, though. You would not have to keep walking. Your feet really do ache. You stand there for an indeterminate amount of time, your heart pounding and a panic irregular rhythm in the base of your throat. But no matter how much time elapses, no guards come. You're thankful for your good luck, though, and not make you wonder. Where is everybody? Why is it almost as if all people in the world have disappeared? Could you be the very last human left alive? You frown and press your palm back against the door. You push less cautiously than this time, heedless of the loud sound which splits the silence. There's no point in worrying about the guards, now when they might not very well be non-existent. Your entry into the castle is secured. You then take a step forwards. Door swings shut behind you, and jolting slam makes you jump. You don't expect it. Your heart knocks against your ribs, and with wild eyes you glance about. You're standing in a vast entrance hall made of stone which splits off into any number of passages. At the very end of the hall, meanwhile, there's a large, elaborate staircase, one which seems to extend into the heavens above themselves. It is dark inside the hall, but there are numerous torches set in scones in the stone wall, which are aflame. They offer some relief from the shadows. You can hear the faint sound of the wind outdoors, as it moans against the castle's impervious walls, but you cannot hear any footsteps. You cannot hear any voices. You cannot, more importantly, hear any people. Maybe the castle really is empty. If that's the case, though, then who lit these torches? It's a curious conundrum. You muster up what remains of your courage, and cry out, addressing the empty hall in a timorous voice, which fails to properly fill up the space. Hello? You say, your eyes wide. Is anybody there? Your voice echoes through the vast, empty hall, but is met yet again with silence. You can't say you're too surprised, but it's somewhat disappointing. Not one to be deterred, you try again and again, your voice growing louder with each subsequent attempt. No matter how loud your voice, however, it fails to reach any ears. If anybody is here, they don't seem to be particularly sociable. That, or perhaps they simply cannot hear you. Could they be in another room? Yes, that must be it. You'll never find that pretty fairy tale princess of your imagination if you stand idle, you know. It's time to get to work. Put those legs of yours to good use. Not knowing what else to do, is there anything else you can do? You begin to explore. Examine the rooms first on the ground floor of the castle, which are of similar scale to the impressive entrance hall, large and richly furnished, but utterly unoccupied. After some time of aimless meandering, encountering but nobody save the ghosts of aeons past memorialized on portraits upon the walls, you muster the courage to ascend to the second floor. This floor too you examine, wandering through the seemingly endless series of hallways until, at long last, you find a door which is ajar. From between the crack in the door and the lamp and jam, you can see a flickering light. Irregular, yes, but is a light nonetheless. Could it be from a fireplace? That was just then that the room is unoccupied, unlike all the others. Perhaps the smiling princess you dreamed of will be waiting in you in this room. As with the trembling hand, that you press your palm against the door. You push it. Then you step inside the bedchamber, which unveils itself to you. Shyly, you stand on the threshold of the chamber, much your courage courage extinguish and gasp. The bedroom itself is gorgeous. Its chamber is so luxuriant that not even the shadows can obscure the fine craftsmanship of the furniture within it, nor the rich patterns on the walls. It is the girl inhabiting the chamber, however, who truly takes your breath away. Hello there. That's a very nice dress you have on. Nice to meet you. Hope you don't mind my little intruding. Sitting upon the velveteen sheets of the towering poster is a girl in a sumptuous red gown who seems to be of a like age to you. You don't have a very clear view of the girl's face. Her head is bowed, her gaze ducked downwards at her lap. You can tell from her hair, however, that from her slender calves which protruded from beneath the hem of her dress, she's very pretty. The girl's hair is golden, just like the freshly cut wheat, but it is the red of her dress which truly captures your attention. She's so striking you cannot help but look away from her. Oh, I don't like the look of that. Dolls, gross. The girl's not alone in her chamber either. She has a companion, though its companion is not half so endearing as she. In her lap, perched on a velvet skirt, is a doll. The doll's hair, much like that of her mistress's, is golden, though much of it is hidden beneath the bonnet. The girl is adjusting the china teacup in her doll's tiny hand, with the rim of the cup glinting the light which exudes from the fireplace. If the girl is of a similar age to you, it seems strange that she would content herself by playing with dolls. Is she not too old for it? This girl will be much more at home you decide at a ball, wearing an extravagant gown, speaking with the wealthy noblemen, perhaps even princes. She should not be sitting in what you presume is her bedchamber, adjusting a teacup in her doll's hands. But you're not afforded much more time to stand there, marveling at the girl, because she turns. She raises her head. Then her eyes meet yours. You thought the girl was pretty when you first observed her, sitting on the edge of the plush, velveteen bed, examining her doll. Now she's looking at you, however, her face illuminated by the flames in the grate. You can see that you're mistaken. She's not just pretty. She's beautiful, so much more, so much so, it's breathtaking. She looks as though she stepped out of the pages of a picture book itself. She's simply too perfect to belong to this world. Here she goes again, falling for the girl. Perhaps she's some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination. But no, she's none of those things. The doll in her lap is cold, a hard thing made of porcelain, is unflinchingly, reassuringly real. If she were a mirage, surely she would not be able to handle physical objects such as this. It is strange, though. The doll, though immaculately made, looks oddly imperfect when compared to the girl who's holding it. She's so startlingly beautiful, she even puts a man-made representation of feminine charge to shame. Sight of her makes you feel rather weak. You always have had a fondness for fair maidens, haven't you? That they have. Rather hopeless when it comes to them, even worse than a knight errant from a courtly legend. Your aesthetic appreciation is not particularly ladylike, but, well, it's not every day a girl encounters an elegant beauty like this, attired in red, illuminated by the firelight. I suppose I can forgive you for this rudeness, as too can the girl. She does not seem to be the type to hold a grudge. Oh, the girl says in a voice that's surprising enough, twice refined in her appearance. It's good to see you. I've been waiting. Has she? That's news to you. You blink, perplexed as a response to the tip of your tongue, but you are unable to compare it into the ether. The girl setting her doll's side, and she stands, the hem of her skirt dress swishing about her legs. Nimbly like a ballerina, she canvasses the space between you. Her room is very large. There's quite a lot of space, and takes your hand in her own. You must, the girl says, her eyes aglow with excitement. Be my new lady's maid. It's been a while, but it's such a relief that he finally arrived. I knew that you would. You never leave me alone, not when you knew how long I was waiting. Oh, I'm so happy. Girl's good mood is contagious, so much so you find yourself being swept away in it. You're tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. You've never been a maid before, but you might not mind being this girl's maid. She doesn't seem like a poor mistress to serve, now she's always this kind. Yep, you cannot mask the confusion, however, which flickers across your face. You're not as good as an actress, you're not a good actress. In any case, this is all happening too quickly. Like barely notice, girl. Why is she being so familiar? It was with blank bovine eyes that you examined the girl. Your befuddlement is pronounced enough that even the girl, despite her good mood, notices it. She frowns. Then she says, her finger sliding away from your own. Or am I mistaken? Are you not my new lady's maid after all? Disappointment in her voice and the girl's face is abundant. So much so your heart clenches. You don't know her, she is still a stranger. But you're stuck, all of a sudden, with an intense desire to appease her. You don't want to let her down. The thought is devastating. You are not aware, you tell her, that you would apply to be her maid, but if that's what she will not be opposed to it. You pray that she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country, and you have traveled for many miles. You know not where you are, and do not know who she is. What? You don't know who I am? It is regrettable, you tell her, but no, you do not know her, though it is not a fault of her own. Why, you spent so much time running, you hardly even know yourself. Ah, so you're a fugitive then, from another country, I see. I won't pride your past then. It is rather if you'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Everybody in this country knows who I am, after all, or at least they should. Now, this is quite an impressive boast. If it were to come from the lips of another, you will find it unpleasantly arrogant. You don't think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. You get the feeling that instead that she is merely telling the truth. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, then allow me to do the honors. My father and mother were the king and queen of this realm, and I am its princess. I've lived in this castle for all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world, but I know the other countries do exist out there. I presume it is one of from. I presume it is from one of those foreign countries that you come from. It's very good to meet you. I've always wanted to talk to somebody from overseas. It feels like I feel like quite the opportunity. Girls giggles at this, and you smile in response. You tell her unthinkingly that it is your pleasure, really, to meet her, or at least you mean to. You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. You come to a stop. Then you stare. Did she just say she was a princess? Yes, that's right. I am a princess, and one day I'll be a queen, after I've done a little bit of growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to run the country just yet, but I've been doing my best on my lessons. One day I'm sure I'll be the best queen there ever was. So she really is a princess. That makes sense, she suppose. She lives in a castle it comes as a surprise regardless. You hadn't known before that you entered the chamber that you were trespassing on a lady such as great renown. Why, if she willed it, she would have you executed for carelessness. An ugly red flush creeps up your face. A flush, of course, more lurid than the princess' dress. As you look down at your feet, bashfully you stammer out a new dress that you are very sorry for intruding upon her, and you hope that she can forgive you. Oh, it's all right. Think nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes, and anyway, you weren't to know. You said you weren't from around here. You nod your head in silent affirmation. If it wasn't a complete lie, you really aren't from this country. You're not from this world at all. How wonderful! I look forward to picking your brain later. All my servants come from nearby villages. From the nearby village, their tales are all the same. So there are their superstitions. If I could do for a breath of fresh air. My last lady's maid told me that I was so impetuous. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. Not that I've ever been afforded much of that. I've been shut up in here so long, I hardly ever get a chance to talk to the other girls my age. My last lady maid was older than me, and so she was one before, and so was the one before her, and the one before her. Some of the princess's fair mood seems to dissipate as she speaks, the expression turning by degrees into something rather more pensive. But I haven't seen any of my old lady maids in a while, or any of the other servants for that matter. They've all disappeared. Now that's quite curious. How could the whole household full of servants simply disappear? That I don't know. This castle was full of servants once. My lady's maids, and my undermaids, and my schooling maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and a large routine of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers must have sent them away. I don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. But then again, they never explain anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. It's so tiring. She said that her ministers sent her servants away. Whatever parents, the king and queen, will they not be able to be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy? They would, yes, if they were still alive, but they're not. They died a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by the servants. Oh, you answer and then you flush? You hadn't known. It's alright, you don't need to apologize. I'm just happy that I have you now. I was getting sick and tired of only having my dolls speak to you. They're the best at conversation partners. You can imagine so, yes. You don't any doll, even one made by the talented artisan, will be intelligent with an intelligent face indistinguishable from a human's, will be very good at answering back. Oh no, they aren't. They're hopeless at it, really. They're all so stony and lipped. You have no idea how much of a relief it is to see you. The castle's so big, and without my servants, it feels so very empty. It gets so lonely here. And that's 3. That's 3. Now that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches you inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? Have you heard it before? Have you heard it before? You don't have much time to ponder this, however, because the princess is speaking anew, in a curiously conversational manner of hers, which did not seem particularly princessy. Maybe she learned how to speak from her servants. That'll explain why her consonants are so unrefined. Oh, but listen to me, yammering on again. It's a bad habit. I really must put a stop to it. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like me to show you to your room? Yes, the princess announces, before you can even say anything in reply. I think I'll do just that. I want to show you a bit more around the castle at first, though. It's like a little amazing here, and I wouldn't want you getting lost. You'll be staying here for quite some time, after all. Princess then hastens to take you on a tour of her home. Fortunately, she does not show all of her rooms in her abode, and neither does she offer overly long descriptions of what the few rooms she does show you are used for. She does, however, pause by the kitchens, whereas she offers you some victuals. Once the girl in your belly seems satisfied, the princess then resumes her journey. She leads you down a dark, twisting hallway, and up a series of equally dark, twisting steps until she arrives at a long last before a door. Princess pushes the door aside similarly, then permitting you to entrance to a small, humble bedchamber. The chamber is not half so opulent as the grand bedroom in which the princess resides, but with its resplendent floor posters and its richly patterned wallpaper. This room's ceiling is not as high as the singular bed shoved against the wall is thin and narrow. Walls are thin, unassuming beige, and the floor beneath your soles is a warped wood. There's a malodorous scent, too, which hangs in the air, one of disuse and general decay. You get the feeling that nobody has slept in the room for quite some time. That might explain why it feels so very cold in here. Though the princess's tour of her castle has taught you anything, it is very cold in every room in her abode. Now, here we are, the final step of our tour. This will be your room, dear one. I hope it's to your liking. Princess, despite her exalted status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you. Her eyes upturned, looks like those of loyal dogs. Is she concerned about your reaction to the room? Perhaps she's afraid that you'll turn your nose up at her kindness. For Princess, she's awfully eager to please. This unexpected contrast between the princess's lofty title and her ingratiating attitude makes you smile. This room is rather scanty, yes, but when it comes to its contents, but it's more than passable. As a roof and 4 walls, and though it's cold, you fancy you'll feel warm once you slip beneath the bed covers, sheets. The room is not quite so fancy as your dormitory in the conservatoire, and now that it's so large, but it does have one glaring improvement over your previous lodgings. You don't be expected to share with anybody else. There's only one bed in the room, and this bed belongs to you. Think that the peace and quiet will do you a world of good. Then you tell the princess as such, and she smiles. That's good. I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't much to look at, but it's some of the nicest servants' rooms we've had in our castle. Most of them may sleep beneath the roof, in this teeny tiny room, which is all cramped. There's 10 beds up there, and they're all so close together, there's barely a room to pass between them. I thought it was perfectly ghastly when I saw it the last time I went up there. Not that I was supposed to be up there. It was a rainy day, and I couldn't go outdoors, so I was doing a bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known I was skulking about, I don't think she would have been pleased either. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps up there anymore. The schooling maids are all gone now. I couldn't put you up there though in the attic with all those empty beds. I didn't think that'd be very cheery. You're not just some screwy maid. You're my lady's maid. That means you deserve a good lodgings. And it's an insult to offer you any less than this. Now, it's getting late. You'll have to forgive me for rabbiting on. I've heard it's something I tend to do. It's a bad habit, one that's unbecoming for a lady. The housekeeper warned me enough times. You reassure the princess that, to the contrary, smiling as you do so. You don't mind if she talks too much. That's better than not talking at all. Her affable nature makes it easier to spend time with her. Manners be damned. You're always scolded too, back in the conservatoire for your behavior. You know full well how aggravating it can be to to be upbraided not for any particular misdemeanor, but for being yourself. Well, I'm glad you understand, Princess answered with a giggle. I really should be off, though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Get some rest. We can talk more tomorrow. If you don't mind my ceaseless prattle, I'm glad you can seem to appreciate it, at least. Though I'm sure you'll get tired of it eventually. All my old mates did. Princess departs, and in her absence, you make a seat upon the bed, your new bed. You cannot help but think that this is all happening very quickly. It did not seem very long ago that you were still in the forest, running for your life amongst all the tall, imposing trees with their gnarled, grasping branches. The forest might be as well a distant memory for now, though. You're indoors, inside a castle, no less, and you've been given a room in which you sleep in clothes that you might wear. It seems premature to still declare that you are out of the woods, in a metaphorical sense, I mean, but things would certainly seem to be worse. You force yourself to stand, on legs which are too weird to support you, and change into nightclothes hanging in the wardrobe. Nightclothes do not fit you properly, but you're too tired to care about that. You're too tired to care about much of anything. You retreat into bed and slide beneath the sheets. Then you let your eyelids fall shut. You exhale, and lulled by the breeze which billows outdoors, you fall asleep. Oh boy, what kind of dream are we gonna have this time around? We got a dream of being pushed into a fountain. We got a dream of having a grave made for us. And both of those seem very clearly linked to what happened to us in the actual story. So what's it gonna be this time around, huh? You're so very tired. You sleep in a dark one. Your sleep is a dark one. Your sleep is a deep, dark one. Darker even than the furthest abysses of nighttime. Like the nighttime sky, however, which shimmers with stars, your sleep is not devoid of those prismatic fragments of you humans call dreams. Though in this case, I'd rather think your nocturnal imaginings are worth rather more than that. They're not dreams, are they? To which your slumbering mind is subjected. You know that they are not. Otherwise your body would not be so very cold, not so clammy. The images that flicker beneath your closed eyelids, like the ghostly images of a what? In a phanetoscope were not conjured from within your mind. They were instead taken from your memories. You're not merely dreaming, you're remembering. You remember the girls who slept in your dormitory, and how they always hastened you to use shower first, so you were the last for breakfast. You remember how when you finally did arrive in the dining hall, the most desirable morsels had already been snaffled up by all the girls who got there earlier. You struggled too to find a seat once you finally did get your hands on some food, because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. They would all act like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. They never asked you for these favors. They never asked for these favors mine for what? They never asked for these favors mine for why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies too, many of them wealthier than you. But when everybody has their airs and graces of a princess, how is anybody supposed to stand out? You stood out the least in your class, perhaps because you were one of the smallest, the frailest and the sickliest, who always came down with colds in the winter. Your poor health did not stop the girls from treating you as your servant, though, when they remembered that you existed, of course. It was your lot in life, as you dwelt within the stone walls of the conservatoire, to carry out school bags across the field like a packed mule. Then come the evenings, the girls in your dormitory had you sewing on missing buttons and ironing out creases in their wrinklings of their uniforms. If it were an odd job they needed performing, you would always be asked. These girls did not ask you, they would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead. And as they ordered you, they laughed at you. They laughed and they laughed and they laughed. The laughter hurt, but it hurt considerably less than the kicks did, and the slaps and the pinches. Once during the embroidery lesson, one of the classmates had an accident with her sewing scissors. She stumbled, or at least she pretended to, and briefly, for you knew it, the silver blades of the scissors were embedded in your left palm. Jesus Christ! Jesus, like going that far? Jesus! Man, This happened quite some time ago, when you were even literal than you are now, but you can still remember it. It hurt a lot. The scissors were sharp and therefore perforated your skin, not all the way down to the bone, but enough to bleed. Your wound bled bright red, like strawberry jam all over your embroidery. Then when your professor saw it, she shrieked. Her face turned pale as when they looked for a few moments as though she might faint, though you were the one who was in pain. The professor looked at your face. She could not bear to look at your hand, and demanded to know why you could not be more careful. Her tone had been an accusatory one, almost as if you had been stabbed yourself in the hand with the scissors to goad her. The pain in your hand hurt, but the guilty persecutors hurt all the more. The nerve, they were never punished for that. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. Perhaps she, like everyone else, thought it was all your fault. The wound, when all said and done, was not too deep. Not even needed any stitches. It healed well enough in time on its own, though it still left a scar, a white rising thing like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. You don't know how much blood you lost. It seemed like a lot back in the classroom. You smell it in the air, sharp as iron, but could not be that much, evidently. If your wound had been more serious, perhaps your professor might have cared. Perhaps classmates too would have felt some modicum of guilt over what they did. But this seems very unlikely. You know that your blood meant nothing to your classmates. Why should it? If you meant next to nothing, then the blood in your veins was, as if such thing was possible, was even more inconsequential. You feel disoriented when you awake, at long last with the rising of the sun. You do not remember what you dreamt, but you do not think that your dreams were of a particularly pleasant nature. If they were, your heart would not be hammering so. Ill at ease, you glance around. You're lying in a narrow bed in an unremarkable room, one with dull beige walls and a warped wooden floor. Where exactly are you? It does not look like your dormitory in the conservatoire, not unless it has shrunk threefold overnight. Your brow furrows as you attempted to recall the events of the night prior, and so with a sharp gasp, it all clicks in place. You remember now. You're running through the woods, trying to escape from... You shudder. You don't know what to think of what it was you're trying to escape from. But what was it? What were we trying to escape from originally? What was it so bad? What was it? Maybe after we get through this route, we'll get one more final route where we, I don't know, turn back around, just accept our fate from whoever's chasing us. That's all I can assume. You presume that you must have given your hunter that slip, though, because because you're still in one piece, awake and alert enough to face the dawning of a new morning. You still have all your limbs, and your facial features appear to be in correct configuration. That's more than enough to be getting along with. Look good for your bed, then blink, bemused at your discovery. You can see lying upon the sheets a garment, two garments actually, a black and white, folded into a neat white square. What could that be? A maid's uniform? If so, it would not be too surprising. You can now recall your visit to Princess the night prior, and her assertions that you might be her lady's maid. Well, if that's the role she wants you to assume, you have no qualms with it. It's far preferable than the other role you played in the last night, that of a startled quarry running from a pursuer. Press your fingers against the humble maid's attire. Feels surprisingly soft to the touch, not coarse like you expected. The clothes are rather fine. Did the princess put them there? If so, then all the more reason to wear them. You're not curious enough to deny her hospitality. You rise from your new bed, and then undress yourself, unbuttoning the front of your plain white nightgown and setting it aside. The task is accomplished, and you then clad yourself in the new attire, black and white and eminently sensible. You feel very far away from the girl you once were. Your face might be the same as always, but something within you seems to have changed. You're no longer a student, not as long as you mean to reside within the princess's castle. You'd rather be your servant. Assured of your newfound identity, you retreat from your chamber, then make your way to the mistress's bedroom. The castle is a large one with many rooms and many hallways to connect them, and for a brief while, you find yourself horrendously lost. You can't remember where the princess's bedroom is. You begin to feel rather disoriented when, to your relief, your eyes snag upon the stairwell, which looks rather familiar. Could this be the way? You stem these steps, your footfall is cushioned by the plush carpet with the lines to them. Then you feel your way down the very same hall you traversed the night prior. If your memory does not fail you, the princess's bedroom ought to be... Yes, it is here. Rap upon the door, but receive nothing but in the way of a response. Is Princess still in bed? You wonder briefly whether you ought not wait until she has risen of her own accord. But no, the sun is high in the sky, and it would seem ashamed to let the princess sleep through the day. You ought instead to rouse her. That seems like the sort of duty a lady's maid should attend to. You enter the princess's bedroom and glance about. Her room looks much the same as you remember it from last night, prior, though the ceiling seems even higher than when viewed in the wan morning's light. You can see now that there are fewer shadows to impede your view, how very unpopular your young mistress' abode is. Her armoire is large and imposing, as is the grate in which you'll be expected to keep a fire lit during the nights. The princess herself, meanwhile, is curled up on her side beneath the sheets, looking rather less grandiose than her title would suggest. She's tied in a nightgown adorned with frills, and her hair split across her pillow like spilled gold. She's slender, and her slender arm, meanwhile, held to her chest as a doll, the very same one she was cassetting last night. You suppose this doll must be your favorite. Idly, you wonder what the doll's name is. Do not suppose it matters all that much. It's time to wake your mistress. You call to the princess, but she is largely unresponsive. Her eyes are still sewn tightly shut, and her lips purse in slumber. You brush your lips too, and sigh. Well, nobody said your job would be easy. Once again, you call the princess, and this time she replies. Her response is not a favorable one, however. She sighs and then turns away from you. Her doll clutched to your chest. Just give me a little longer. Princess sounds so enfeebled, but you do not take pity on her. If you have learned anything from your conservatoire, save for the knowledge of pretending for your repertory attacks of fish, repertory tracks of fish, is that one must be cruel to be kind. You don't think this adage was practiced with a great success in the conservatoire, or perhaps it'll be more important upon the princess. Impact upon the princess. You tell her once again to wake up. More sternly this time. You will not let her sleep, for she has been slept long enough already. It's very slovenly, really, to still be abed at such an hour. Oh, defeated, the princess sighs. Alright, I can see that I can't twist you around my little finger. This is the only time we've had a person having more than one outfit. I'm up. You don't need to nag me. Once you've roused the princess from her bed, and you have put her doll to one side, you set up her toilet. You aid in the princess in brushing her hair, a chore to which she submits willingly, like a cat might allow its fur to be brushed. You allow yourself to ponder, as you turn when the bristles of the princess brush through your hair, how wonderfully soft it feels against your skin. But a curious query from your princess, "Are you alright, dear one?" brings you back to your senses. You're rather lost in thought there. Look lively now, you wouldn't want the princess to catch wind of your salacious thoughts, would you? I thought that you had learned your lesson about that already. Suitably chastised, you finish the princess's hair, and then set the brush aside. Now the princess's tresses have been taken care of, you must start on her attire. Princess remains seated upon the edge of the bed, looking up at you askance. She did not ask you to avert your eyes, nor does she make any motion of divesting yourself on your nightgown. It does seem as though she expects you to undertake this task on your own. Is that alright? Yes, princess, as much. You do not wish to impeach upon your modesty, but she only laughs. Yes, that's alright. It's what you're supposed to do if you're to be my lady's maid. I'm used to being dressed but none dressed. I'm not a bit squeamish about it. She might be not a bit squeamish about it, but you are. You've never been seen a naked woman before, excepting yourself. Even then, however, you have always dressed and undressed furtively, not wanting to examine your body for longer than strictly necessary. You never much like the way you look. You make a few more mumbled objections, but the princess sweeps them all to the one side, easily. It's alright, I might be a princess, but we're both people underneath our clothes. I thought we look all much different. You're not so sure about that. You haven't seen the princess unadorned, but you already feel to look at her face, you are indifferent. She is much prettier than you are. But she is waiting, and you don't wish to keep her any longer. You steady your nerves. Then you reach out with trembling hands, and you begin to undo the buttons which run down the front of her princess's nightgown. You work as quickly as you are able, which given how badly your hands are shaking, is not very. You fumble with a couple of the buttons, switching as you do so. Princess, however, seems blissfully unaware as it is. Exactly you are doing, or not doing, as for your fingers have begun to seize up with the front of her nightgown. She's never even looking at you. Instead, her gaze is directed beyond your shoulder to the windowsill and the sky beyond it. It isn't particularly sunny, but I don't think it's too cold outside. Going for a walk might be a bad idea. What do you think, dear one? You think that you would like to finish undressing the princess as soon as possible, so that you can make some progress in undressing her again. Instead, all this exposed skin is bad for your heart. Poor girl is suffering. Fortunately, you are able to make quick work of the princess's nightgown, despite your initial mishaps spurred on, perhaps by your anxiety. You bid the princess to stand, which she does, and thusly she steps out of her nightgown, her motions once again as graceful and as fluid as the dancers. This task completed, you search hurriedly for the princess' red dress. Where is it? You cannot find it. So it begins to prickle on the back of your neck. Your arms, meanwhile, feel uncomfortably clammy. The months pass awkwardly and uneasily as you search. Princess is standing there, all in white, and as naked as the day she was born. Why did you not find her day dress before you stripped her of her night one? What a fool you are! Princess, noticing your panic, giggles and says, "Are you looking for my dress?" "Yes," you reply, your face flushed. "That is what you're doing." "I thought so. I did wonder what you're... Before you started undressing me, why you did not ask me where it was. Maybe it slipped your mind." "It has slipped your mind, yes, to your shame. You're too busy trying not to fixate upon the princess's bare skin to think about how to best conceal it." "Not just in my armoire," the princess says, glancing over to the aforementioned piece of furniture. The armoire of hers is intricately carved wooden structure, large enough so you estimate to fit inside enough dresses for an entire whole ballroom with the princesses. "I like to wear the red one. It's my favorite. Would you be a dear and fetch it for me?" "I know it's a rush you, but it is rather cold in here, especially when I'm still naked." She raises a good point. You turn away from the princess and make your way to the armoire. Once there, you open its wooden doors and peruse the clothes hanging within. It's just as you expected. Inside the wardrobe lies numerous red dresses, all of them finely sewn and decorated with no shards of ribbons, lace, and iridescent pearls. You find the princess's red dress soon enough, and then hurry to her side. With your spoils in hand, you hurry to dress her, concealing once again the princess's pale skin beneath the layers upon layers of soft red fat velvet. She's easier to look at now, you think, her skin concealed. That might be having the most nerve-wracking task you've ever had to accomplish, even more than your perilous escape through the foggy forest. On one hand, you're being chased by a possible murderer, and on our hand, gay panic. Equally perilous, yes. Why, it seems all a small miracle you can still remember how to breathe. That's much better. Thank you, dear one, for your help. You've been here for a full day, but I already wonder what I'll do without you. Shall you assure the princess that you did nothing, really? Nothing beyond your job. You did not do anything incredible. And in any case, you being complimented by somebody so pretty is embarrassing. Ah, don't be like that. I want to compliment you. Why shouldn't I, when you are already so helpful? It'd be rude not to, anyway. I think you're very pretty, too. Oh my, your face flushes from this, more deeply than ever before. You have to count yourself lucky, really lucky, with all this excessive blushing that the princess doesn't seem to express any vampiric tendencies. You're making yourself quite the easy target. Now, the princess declares, why don't we go for a walk? It's a nice enough day, and I get so very bored being cooped up inside. You can't think of anything particular objections to raise this remark, and you think that the princess might have a point. Castle, although expansive, is somewhat stifling. Though so very thick, they put you in the mind of a crypt. With your acquiescence assured, the princess quits her chamber. Her posture elegant and her gait unhurried. She seems not to walk as she navigates her way through the seemingly endless hallways of her home, but to float like a cloud. The hem of her dress swishes around her legs, and her hair shifts like a shroud. The castle's courtyard, meanwhile, is sadly lacking in comparison to the princess's beauty. The courtyard is fenced in by the castle's walls, with look in them stark midday light, tall and imposing, faces soldiers standing sentinel. Though the sun is out, it's not particularly bright, and neither is it particularly warm. The courtyard itself, meanwhile, is in a state of disarray. The flower beds are in shambles, all overgrown with weeds. It's all rather depressing. The princess's castle might be grand in scale, but the courtyard itself is simple, hemmed in to a claustrophobic degree, like a coffin. The princess, however, seems to not share your dolorous mood. She instead looks elated for their newfound surroundings, her smile unwavering. She gambols about like a lamb, flitting hither and thither, as she examines the weed-infested flower beds. Her longing comes to a cease, however, by a brush, one of a full bright red roses. Oh, how very pretty! Do you not think they are very gorgeous, dear one? The flowers are not too disappointing, you suppose? They are very fine in spectacle, and a welcome splash of color when contrasted to the dullness and drabness which permeates the rest of the courtyard. Though the other flowers in their beds are wilted, but their things is not so much for these roses. They are a rich bright red, just like blood. Their heads so full they seem almost to droop beneath the weight of their own engorged petals. They are pretty in a sense, but there's something unsettling about them too, something that is almost obscene. How did those roses become so very red? What has been sustaining them? Could it possibly be that these roses have been draining the life of the other flowers which are starting to grow within the garden? It's a fanciful thought, but... Oh, they're simply divine. Look at these roses. Looking at these roses always lifts my spirits. They're my most favorite. They really are my most favorite flowers. And so we must pluck with some of them. Perhaps I can use them to decorate my bedchamber. It could use a bit of color. Princess reached out to pluck one of the roses from the near nesting place amongst his brethren. You watch her, your breath bated, anxious as the gesture might be written in perforated flesh and bright red blood. But the princess is not as clumsy as you fear. Of course she is not. Who do you think she was? You? Rather than worrying about other people, you'd be better served if you worried more about yourself. Princess holds her newly filled rose to her nose, inhales, her eyes falling shut as a flower sweet scent swashes over her. A few moments of silence pass. Then the princess begins to toy with the petals with adorn the flower's crown. Now let me see. I wonder what fate has been in store for me. She loves me. Princess plucks a petal from the flower, unburdened the head. She loves me not. Princess continues with the child's incantation, all the while stripping her rose slowly and methodically of its petals. Petals flutter about her princess like a bloody snow. Princess's voice, meanwhile, echoes through the courtyard, even more melodic than the strains of the panola. She loves me not. She loves me not. Princess's fingers hover over the final petal, which covers her nearly denuded finger. Then, with a triumphant smile, she declares, "She loves me! I knew it!" Regrets the princess, amused with her girlish good cheer. The little mantra she has been reciting in her is the one that you're familiar with. Girls at the conservatoire also used to engage in this little game. The young ones, at least, who believed in the fairy tale prince would whisk them away. You might have participated in this game yourself when you were a child, but never pin your hopes on or dreamed on a handsome prince. Your interest in princes has always been minimal. When it comes to fair princesses, though... well, that is a different matter altogether, isn't it? Presently, you ask the princess whose love it is she wishes to court, a query which makes the princess giggle. Oh, dear one, who else would I be thinking of? Naturally, I was thinking of you. Naturally. She said so easily, and so you ought to have suspected as much, and indeed, part of you did. You wanted to believe that part of you was afraid to. You did not want to be arrogant and to assume that the previous princess did not care for your affections. You begin to blush, your cheeks almost red as the roses, while the princess laughs. She laughs and laughs and laughs, her voice clear and like a nightingale's song, and though you are the funniest thing, as though you are the funniest thing she's ever seen. You never being laughed at when you dwelt within the walls of the conservatoire, but it's different with her. You've not known her for all that long, but you are already entranced by her and ensnared. She has you wrapped around her little finger. Oh my! Princess' laughter tapers off as she hears a giggle and smiles as she wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. That was quite the amusing diversion, but I just had an idea. Look at the princess curiously. What idea? You can't tell. You're not even begin to guess. I just thought that all this watching must be boring for you, the princess says, tossing the rose stripped of them carelessly to the ground. You should give it a try. Please do, it'll be fun. Princess retrieves a second rose from the hot bushes, deftly snapping it between her fingers and offers it to you. I can't wait to see what fate has in store for you two. You smile at the princess and touched by your enthusiasm. Indulging in the child's game, this might not be the best use of your time, but the princess looks very determined. You do not wish to hurt her. What could be the harm, really, in consenting? The only real reason of this game will be one singular rose, the rose that a princess is holding towards you. You reach out, meaning to accept the rose princess is offering, but... Oh no! You're clumsy, and you seize the stem of the rose with a touch of much to your strength. Ah! The head of the rose must be pretty, but the more pretty a rose is, but there is more to a rose than the bright red flowers. Roses have thorns too. In fact, you're now being painfully reminded of. Pain flares through your finger and you gasp. You take a step back, the hem of your skirt swishing around your ankles. Your fingers stinging and so are your eyes. You ought to have been more careful. Why are you so stupid? You poor dear, you're bleeding! Princess exclaims, alarmed. Then she frowns. This is all my fault. If I had not such this silly game, this never would have happened. Please let me take care of you. And how's she going to do that? Perhaps she means to take a handkerchief from her pocket, which she might be stitch your wound with. Princesses tend to carry handkerchiefs around with them, don't they? Silken ones? How else do they give a brave knight's tokens of gratitude once they, after mentioned knights, have successfully slain dragons? Princesses can hardly dispense kisses as favors. It's simply not done. This is what you always thought, but... Please, hold still. This might be sing a little bit. Princess is anything but ordinary. Rather than take a handkerchief out of her pocket, she instead encloses her white, slender fingers around your hand. Carefully, as though she's handling a precious object, she raises your hand. Her eyes are fixed all the while on the beads of startlingly crimson blood, which are oozing luridly from your wound. She licks her lower lip, and dips her head. Haha. I gotta say, ask though, how hard do you have to grab a rose by storm in order for your finger actually bleed, like, considerably bleed? That's nice and all, but I'm still a little worried, like, I don't think there are any good endings in this story, so, She parts her mouth, and with a soft sigh, which borders on the sinuous, she slips through your injured digit between her teeth. So much for the princess not dispensing kisses as tokens of appreciation. It might not be a conventional kiss, but it feels intimate regardless, almost startlingly so. Princess's lips, which are red as a rose, any rose, are enclosing around your index finger. You feel the warmth of the princess's mouth about your skin, and the wetness of it. These sensations make your whole body quake. You do not expect this. Tremulously, in a voice which wavers, you ask the princess what it is she's doing. Oh, princess glances up at you, mouth still enclosed around your finger. Didn't I tell you? I'm trying to stop the bleeding. Yes, you gathered as much, but... Is there a problem? I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I? It is not, you say, that she is making you uncomfortable per se, but it's rather awkward when you not expected that is all. Is she not worried about that it is unhygienic? Unhygienic? Princess blinks. She's a very picture of innocence, which is funny, really, given the finger is still nestled between her tongue. I don't know what you mean by that exactly, but I've heard this is the very best way to take care of my cuts. My nursemaid used to do this for me too. When I was a child, it's what you're supposed to do. And you asked, your voice catching in your throat, did your head nursemaid keep saucing her wounds with her mouth when she grew older? Well, no, but my nursemaid was dismissed when I was 8 years old. That's the normal way of things. I had my lazy maids to look after me then. How very interesting. Did she ever clean her wounds like this? No, the princess says, sighing shilly, because I'm not clumsy enough to cut myself, silly. Now that was quite the sharp retort. You did not expect it. Your face turns even redder, and if such a thing is possible, though this might perhaps be to your benefit. With some luck, all your blood will flow to your face rather than your finger, and your bleeding will stop. Has it stopped? Your injury was not deep one. There should not be no need for the princess to keep sucking on it like she is. You're not accustomed to the intimacy of this nature. It's making your heart flutter. If the princess knew that what her mouth was doing to you, you're sure she would not be so familiar. You're very quiet. You feel quietly, crushingly confident that she would scorn you for your feelings and deem you unnatural. Poor girl's been so much, probably because of this. She likes girls, but is that why everyone was just bullying her back to the conservatoire? I can only assume so. It'd not be the first time. At this point, you should be used to rejection. It still stings, though. It stings much, much more than any thorn on any rose ever could. The days pass. Following your misadventures in the rose garden, you relax unhurried sort of manner. Your mad dash throughout the forest is beginning to feel like a distant memory, so much so you can scarcely recall the raw and naked fear you once felt as you fled for your life. There's no running to be had while you are working for the princess. You would have nowhere to run, and in any event, there is no longer any reason to run. These shadows which once tormented you have now, at long last, begun to recede. You can scarcely recall as you lay down in your bed the petty cruelties that you were subjected to by your classmates at the conservatoire. They no longer matter. Your attention is focused not upon yourself, but upon the princess. The more time you spend with her, the more you come to care for her. You have become quite besotted with her, but you're not yet to realize it. Well, I never. How very ignorant can one girl be with her own feelings? Princess is not half so ignorant as you are, though, despite having spent her whole life within the palace walls. The way her own feelings are not unknown to her, and during one stormy night, she chose to make them known to you. Oh? You're in the princess's chambers later. Perhaps than you thought ought to be. Chambers later. Perhaps than you ought to be. Later than is strictly appropriate. It's dark outside, and there's little save for the light of the moon to alleviate it. That and the fire which crackles in the grate. You only just finished stoking the very fire now, and when you rise, you look to the princess who lying on her bed, and you bid her good night, as you have many nights past. With a neat curtsy, you turn to leave, but the princess's plaintive voice gives you pause. Wait, dear one, do not go, do not just yet. Perplexed, you pause, then look back at the princess. Though she is smiling, her expression is unusually wan. Is she alright? Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just nights like these, which make me feel a little out of sorts. And what you asked does actually mean by that? Only that it's very cold and very dark. And it's very windy, and besides, I'm afraid there'll be a storm later. It was awfully cloudy earlier when we went out for our walk. The princess is not mistaken about that. The sky, when the pair of the meandered around the garden earlier, it was gray and steely. The wind bitingly cold. You can hear the wind rattling mournfully against the panes of the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle is built of stone and is well fortified, but even with the fire, it is rather cold. You don't like to think of how much chillier, by comparison, it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate to have its own fireplace. It might sound childish, but I've always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights like this. They make me feel uncomfortable. I look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in her bright red dress, she looks oddly, uncommonly vulnerable. Will she really be alright, all alone in her oversized bed, in her high-ceiling bedchamber? You know what is silly of you to contemplate such a query. Why would she not be alright? There's nobody in the castle but to hurt her, but still, you fret for her. As her lady's maid, it is your job to fret for her. You would never want your mistress to feel unhappy. You ask the princess what it is she would like to have you do, and the princess perks up at this. Please, perhaps that you are taking this initiative. I wouldn't like to take up too much of your time when it's so very late, but would you mind sitting with me a little while longer and reading to me? Provided that you can, of course. This is a fair enough question, but your pride bristles regardless. Hastily you reassure the princess that yes, of course you can read. You were a poor student in many aspects at the conservatoire, but you have something of a gift when it came to the literary arts. Reading books is all you have ever been good at. Oh, I see. I suppose I should have known. You're so incredible. I sometimes wonder if there's anything you can't do. Princess's high praises make you flush. Awkwardly, you look away. Being able to read them, you reassure her it is not such a great feat. Perhaps it isn't where you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants could read, and they certainly couldn't read the books I like. This piques your interest. Intrigued, you ask Princess what books exactly she likes. Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm fond of fairy tales, you see, old ones from centuries past. I have a collection of them here. The princess says, indicating on the book on her bedside table, as thick as a mortuary slab. This book is old though, and the bindings are weak. The pages are brittle, and the writing is woefully old-fashioned. I didn't trust any of my past servants with that book, but I think you would do a good job breathing life into the old stories. Would you mind reading to me for just a brief while? Please, dear one, oh please? Princess' request seems a simple one, expressed sweetly, so much so you see no reason to refuse her. Take a seat beside her and the princess, upon her luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. Then you retrieve the letter-bound book which is resting upon her bedside and table and spread it open. Pages of the book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the bindings of the book are loose. You feel the heft of the book and the book's manifold pages, the weight of the ages concealed within it. How old is this book? Perhaps as old as the castle in which it resides. It is with a quiet voice, hesitant at first, that you can begin to read the princess, a tale of country love which culminates in a lavish wedding ceremony. All the while as you read, Princess listens to you, enraptured, hanging or so it seems upon your every word. Once you reach the final phrase embossed upon the pages of each tome, and then live happily ever after, Princess sighs as she feels the tales touch her very soul. Would that there be a handsome prince to marry me? She says somberly, or but yet a beautiful princess. At this point, I think I would even sell for a lowly screwly maid. You blushed at the idle remark and mumbled softly that this would not be proper. The storm outside is still squalling, and you have yet never been one to raise your voice. You don't expect, therefore, that the princess will hear you, but she does. She observes you, her head resting against your pillows, and says, "And what will be the problem with that, As my maid, shouldn't my happiness come before any silly ideas of propriety?" "Well, of course," you reply, but for the princess to marry a schooly maid... "You're still hung up on that," Princess titters. "Don't pay it too much head, I'm just talking to myself." As if anything like that would ever happen, when there is no priest around to officiate it. You think there are greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest, though she does present a good point. The castle is an empty one. Even if the princess were to find someone that she loves, there will be nobody to make such a wedding official. You cannot help but feel that you are avoiding a good deal of a nuisance. But by the same token, you don't feel a touch disappointed. Well, never mind. That was a nice story, the princess says, but I'm not sleepy yet, and it's not still storming outside. Won't you read me one more? You would not mind, you reply, but it is getting late. You really ought to return to your own chamber. I know, but can't you find it in your heart to read one more story to me? Just one. You can choose from a short one. I won't complain. If you have some doubts about that, you have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It is not, you think, because she is a princess, though that is, of course, part of it, but because she is, well, radiant. You would not, you think, as you turn to the next story recounted in this age compendium, want to upset her. You'd rather cut out your own tongue. Oh, poor girl, so she just wants to find love. You read another story to the princess, which is similar in vein to the last, impossible adventures culminating at their close in a happy marriage. The tale delights the princess just as much as the tale you read prior, and she begs for another, and then another. One better story becomes 5, and even then, when the candles which flicker on the princess's bedtime are close to getting out, the princess is not satisfied. Like a grasping, greedy child, she has never heard of its moderation. When she wants something, she seeks the glut herself with it. Her only request for that of more. If she were less commonly, perhaps her inability to adhere to the word a no would be less as a character defect. The princess is very comely, though, however, and so when she makes her next request, you almost agreed offhand, without considering the ramifications. I think I could go to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I feel lonely on my own in this big, empty bed, so... I know, the princess's eyes light up at the night sky and the thunder. Why don't you sleep with me? You stare at the princess, your eyes wide as goose eggs. Slowly, you blink. Then, just as slowly as you bid her to repeat yourself. Didn't you hear me? The princess giggles. Maybe you've been so close to busy cleaning up after me that you've neglected to clean up after your own gears. I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me? If that is the question she truly means to ask, then it is easy enough to answer. Of course you'd like to sleep with her. It would be an honor. But would it be really alright for you to accept such an invitation? It must be a gross breach of protocol, surely, for lowly domestics such as yourself to share bed with a princess. You sit upon the princess's bedside, fretting, while she observes with wide, beseeching eyes. She's waiting. Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tarry so? Could it be... The princess's lower lip begins to tremble. Don't you want to lie with me after all? A sorrow present in the princess's voice and in her face makes you feel awfully guilty. Hurriedly, you console her. You tell her in no uncertain terms that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it. Why would you? Well then, don't just stand there dilly-dallying, silly. Come and join me, come! And with that you do, after returning briefly to your own chamber to change your nightgown. Once dressed, you waste no time in returning to your impetuous princess's side. She's already lying in her gorgeous four-poster bed, awaiting your return, as though you are a knight errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. Princess giggles when she sees you. In your haste to change, you made a hash of the buttons, and she bids you to come closer. Let me fix that for you, silly. Oh no, you say, I can't possibly let you do that. I'm but a servant after all. Should it not be your job to address her? Maybe so, the princess says, but I'm not mine of a bit of role reversal. It makes things more fun. You try a bit more refutations, but in vain. Princess Similarity discards all of them. Quite at the princess's mercy, she might even be more stubborn than you are. You capitulate on her demands. You let the princess unbutton the front of your night dress, then rebutton them, so the fabric of your plain gown is drawn set. Satisfied with her handiwork, she has very elegant hands. The patron straws back and passes the mattress beside her. Now, come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but the sheets are so warm. Coyly, the princess smiles. And so am I. You feel warm yourself as you slide into the bed beside the princess. Your face is red as you your face is as red as the gown the princess so often wears, as red as the roses in the castle's garden. All the while, your heart is fluttering. Does the princess know what effect she's having on you? Surely she must. How could anyone be so blind? There, the princess exclaims, once your body is laying beside hers. That is much better. Do you feel cozy now, dear one? You swallow, and with a shaky voice, you reassure her. Yes, you are cozy. You're quite cozy indeed. Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but it can't get us here, I know. When I'm with you, I'll be safe. It's strange, but... The princess reaches out and takes your hand in hers, twining your fingers together like a chain. When I'm with you, I feel so very light. It's as though nothing in the world can hurt me. You make me feel safe, so I want to make you feel safe too. I'll take very, very good care of you, I promise. You return her smile with one of your own, touched by your thoughtfulness, though something about her promise does make you wonder. Should not be your job to look after her as a domestic? In a way, the princess replies after a pause, but you've been taking good care of me already. Now I need to return the favor. As a princess, I suppose I'm supposed to look after I'm supposed to look after my vassals. It's all part of the job description. You weren't aware of being the princess came with a job description. You thought the princess's profession came with far fewer written responsibilities and far fewer forms to sign than, say, become a doctor and an astrophysicist or a mathematics professor. You tell Princess this sleepily, and she laughs. You do say some funny things, dear one. I think you must be rather tired. Rest your head. You've been working so hard, so hard. I think you deserve it. Yes, you think, only half conscious. You think you deserve it too. You've been working hard for a long time. Have been running for even longer. But now, at long last, you feel like you can at least let your fears go. Your eyes begin to droop, your body beguiled by the sun-all-consuming fatigue. In a quiet, understanding sort of way, your consciousness is conveyed to a Morpheus kingdom. Your sleep is a deep one, despite the storm which rages outdoors. The wind is howling like a couple of wild cats, both locked in a vicious and bloodthirsty bout to death, but you do not hear it. Swaddled by the warm blankets around you, and soothed by the princess's presence, you're immune to all the ills of the world. When you are with the princess, you feel safe, secure, and, yes, even feel loved. Oh, man. It's a pity then that these feelings do not last for very long. You know that something is wrong, catastrophic so, the moment you open your eyes. Your thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, but you are certain that when you fall asleep, it was in a bed, a nice warm bed, no less, with soft, comfortable sheets. You're not lying in the bed right now, though. You're not, in fact, lying at all. Oh, gosh. Oh, no. You're standing instead, against a cold, hard wall made of stone. The curve of your back is pressed against the wall so intimately that you can feel its itchy chill seeping through your fabric of your nightgown. Your feet, which are bare, are similarly pressed against the cold and feeling stone. They feel so frigid you cannot help but tremble. You're trembling so much so they can feel your teeth chattering together. They sound like castanets. The sound is no jaunty as it echoes through your cell, for it is indeed where you are. The princess's bedchamber, wherein you fell asleep, is the thing and now of the past. And those skeletons too, they're also wearing like the typical maid attire. You're standing instead, you realize, with a sharp start in the cell of some great underground dungeon. You swallow when you do. You taste something bitter on your tongue. Your stomach is beginning to churn with anxiety. You feel like you're going to be sick, a feeling which wells up inside you, a staggering degree when you catch a notice of the stench. You realize the only one in this dungeon. There are others here, others attired in the simple black and white outfits of servants which look like the dresses that you once wore. Those who are with you, however, in this expansive cell, balanced by the walls, are in no fit state to speak to you, nor tell you of their plights. They are all unfeeling, unseeing, unbreathing. They are all dead. You can approach these servants to check their pulses, for you yourself are restrained. Yeah, I don't think you need to check the pulses when they're just literal bones left. There be no point. There's no way a human could survive the wounds which have been inflicted upon these sad, slumped bodies. Over there, you see a woman slumped, and at the front of her, once white apron, stained with blackish blood. There's a gaping wound in her stomach, one through which her entrails have been half escaped, and some sort of burgundy goop, which might have been a pale pink. There's another woman slumped beside the first of a smaller stature. She's skinnier. Maybe she's a woman, not a woman after all, but an adolescent like yourself. She might be even younger. The girl's age or lack thereof did not preclude her attacker from inflicting upon her horrors. Alas, for her body is even more mutilated than the first. Her body is peppered with even more wheels, and her face has been half smashed in. Oh God. Only one eye remains, staring fixedly at the wall opposite her, and the ruined remains of what was once her skull. Over there you see a woman who's missing both her arms and her lower jaw. Over there you see another who's missing her entire lower half. Wherever her leg's gone, you have no idea. The injuries that are inflicted on these bodies are ghastly, but their advanced decay is enough to turn your stomach. You know not how long these carcasses have been lying down here, but they have begun to putrefy. You fear a similar fate might befall you, should you stay here. You need to escape. Vividly you struggle against the manacles but bind you, but alas, it's no use. You cannot free yourself from the walls. Your restraints are much too strong, and you're much too weak. Panic rises up in your throat, cold and icy, with how terror seizes your heart. This too glacial. It's obvious that escape is impossible, but still you squirm and writhe like a rat caught in a firestorm. There's little point, however, into your struggles. You succeeded in nothing, as you attempt to free yourself, save making the steel manacles dig into your abused wrists more sharply than ever. You gasp. That hurts. Well, you ought to have known that would not work. The very definition of insanity is, deferring a set of actions over and over again, hoping for some response. In that sense, perhaps one could argue optimism is not very different from insanity. Now, that is an interesting point to consider, would you not agree? No, evidently not. You're still trying to escape, you foolish girl, as if that'll do you any good. Clangorous rattling of your steel restraints is rather starting to get on my nerves. You're making enough noise to raise the dead down here in this dark, dingy cell, and all your screaming is hardly helping matters. I wish that you would cease this infernal racket, but I know you will not. Nothing I say could ever get through to you. Huh. Not that you have ever listened to me in the first place. Perhaps you listen to her, though. Is she not your kind, considerate mistress? Look now, she has come all this way into the dark depths of the castle's cold and hospitable dungeon to see you. Is that not kind of her? Oh, dear one, Princess trills, entering the dungeon with a series of light, glittering steps. It would seem like you just finally awoken. How are you? Based on the infernal racket you've been making, it would seem you have no source of energy. Balefully, you turn your head so as to meet the eyes of the princess. She's standing about a few paces away, beneath the roughly hewn stone arch which bids one's entry, but rarely ever nags it, to the dungeons. Dungeons are dull and drab, but the princess is wearing her favorite red dress. It's so bright and brilliant that, for a few moments, it hurts to look at her. Once the red the princess outfit makes you think of romance. Once the red princess made you think of romance. Now it makes you think of violence. You must forgive me for leaving you down here for so long. That must have been fair of me. I didn't think of waiting for you with you by your side until you awoke, but once again the princess giggles, a light airy giggle which is not at all suits the situation in which you found yourself in. A dungeon is not a place fit, after all, for a princess. It's horribly cold in here, and it's still very drab, and there's nowhere nice and soft to lay my head. I could have brought my pillows down from my beds, I suppose, but in my blankets. But then they would have gotten dirty, and that would be a disaster. I need to be more careful. I won't have anybody left to clean up after messes soon. Not when I've dispatched of you. Once again, the princess laughs. Laughter is light and lilting like the chiming of a silvery bell. Silvery bell to alleviate your concerns. Oh man, princesses, huh? Can't just have a good one, huh? Can't just get your break, huh? If anything makes you feel even more alarmed. Did she mean to say did she meant to say dispatch of you? Yes, that's right. Could you not tell? I thought you might have figured out already. After waking up in the dungeon, silly. Still smiling, the princess takes another step towards you. With that you would cringe away from her, but you cannot. You're completely powerless. Oh, man. Princess reaches a hand on the whole... reaches out a hand to place upon your cheek. Her skin is very white, and though her touch is cool, it is less so than frigid air in the dungeon. Though your body is aching, the princess's touch is gentle, and you find yourself leaning into it subconsciously. You wish she would keep holding you. You wish she would keep touching you. You luxuriate in her kindness as best you can, but though the princess's caresses are tender and your circumstances are rather undermine them, how can you relax like this? Ah, you're such a good girl, the princess says in a consoling sort of voice, as one might address a cat. You've been so lovely to me all while we're together. I really couldn't ask for a better servant. I feel as though I've been spoiled. Why then, you ask her, is she doing this? Improbable though it sounds, she must be the one who chained you up, though there is nobody else in this castle who could commit such a feat. Everyone else is dead. Why, yes, how very astute of you. I was the one who orchestrated all this, naturally. Naturally, she says, as though her betrayal is but a matter of course. Naturally. Why you ask? Is this so natural to her? What does she mean to do with you? Oh, only what I've done to all my other servants. I have experience with this sort of thing, so please don't worry. I'll take good care of you. And by take good care of, she means... naturally, I'll kill you. There it is again, that word, which seems grossly inappropriate given all has transpired. Naturally. There's nothing natural about this. Do you not think so? The princess examines you, her expression is ponderous. It's natural to me, even if it isn't natural to other people. This just feels right. Imprisoning her servants in the dungeon and letting them die? Yes, exactly. There's a bit more to it than that, though. Oh, of course there is. I like you, dear one, the princess says in a voice which sounds uncommonly serious. You've been good to me, like I said, and kind. For that, I will be eternally appreciative. You've been so good to me, in fact, and that simply being with you is not enough anymore. Not anymore. Your company can no longer content me. I'm a greedy, selfish girl, you see. The princess' smile widens in something sinister. Her eyes are flashing like a fiendish fervor that you've never seen before. And I don't want to feel you beside me. I want to feel you inside me. In any other circumstances, that'll be a welcome invitation, but not when we're here, not with all the bodies around us. Well, of all things your charming captive could have said, you did not expect that. Princess, perhaps noticing your confusion, begins to giggle. A giggle even lighter and just as airy. It's just as inoffensive. I can see that you don't understand, dear one, but you aren't the only one. My last maid said that too. Wanley, the princess sighs, a beguiled woe is me sigh, which makes her look even younger than the scant handful of years she truly possesses. And the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. I thought that you, at least, might be able to appreciate my point of view, but perhaps not. I don't think it should be too complicated to grasp, really. But maybe my way of looking at it is a little too unique. That's what my nurse always used to say, at least, when she was still had the breath to speak, of course. Look at the princess, where else is there to look, really? Your eyes affixed to her face. She's still smiling, but there's something sinister about her smile. Or perhaps in your anxious state, you only imagine that there's something sinister about her smile. It's easy to see things which do not really exist when you're trying our festoon with shadows. In actuality, however, Princess did not look any different to how she usually does. Neither is she acting any different than how she usually acts. She's not changed, and it's only your perspective of her that has changed. Tremulously, you ask the princess what she means, a question the princess is only too happy to answer. It's simple, really. Like I said, you're wondering weren't you why there weren't any guards or any servants in the castle when you first arrived here? Question that crossed your mind, yes. You're sure the princess said her ministers sent them away, though. Was that a lie? I wasn't being wholly untruthful, no. I thought you would be afraid of me if I knew what actually happened, and I didn't want that. I wanted you to stay with me. My ministers did not send anybody away because I don't have any ministers. That's best of them too. Did she now? I suppose you ought to not be surprised, but you still shudder regardless. My ministers weren't very much fun, I'm afraid. They had a lot of ideas about what I should and shouldn't be doing after my parents died. The princess stares at you, her eyes wide like black holes, empty, yawning abysses. So I killed them. I killed my servants too, though I did a more thorough job on them than I did my ministers. I didn't care for my ministers, you see. They're all fussy old men, but I did love my servants. I love my lady's maids, and my owner's maids, and my schooling maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and my large retainers. They were like my family. They raised me in my parents' absence, and I adored them. They're so very dear to me that I had no real choice. I had to eat them. God. Does that not follow? Not logically, no. Why, you asked the princess, your voice trembling, would you eat the people that you love? It seems a poor way to repay them for their kindness. Well, why wouldn't you eat the people that you love? I don't think there'd be any greater way of showcasing one's gratitude unless you have any better ideas. I don't know, maybe like just spending time together, like being together in life, having more conversations and stuff, you know, like eating together, hanging out, just doing anything but that. Like we can eat regular food together, like food you digest, you know, leave your body eventually. Like you'll get the nutrients from it, but then now like the nutrients will run out. Like there won't be anything left out there after that. You know, princess. You weren't expecting the princess to turn the tables on you quite like this, and dumbfounded you stare at her. You know precious little about love yourself, so it's hard for you to form a convincing rebuttal, but you must have a few token arguments. You tell the princess that eating people isn't very nice, and neither is it strictly legal. A better way to show your gratitude to your servants would be with increased wages or increased holidays. The princess listens to your arguments, her expression astute, like a student poised to take notes in a very important lecture. Once you finish, however, the concentration fails her. Her shoulders begin to shake, but it's not with her remorse for that she has done. Instead, she is laughing. Oh, dear one, that's very funny. But why should I care about what the law? I'm a princess. One day I'll be the queen, and I am the law. That's a good point, but would eating people not turn her subject against her? What subjects? I'm no fool, you know. No matter how I might act, and I know what happens beyond the castle walls. I know all about the plague. Oh, the plague of the gravedigger. Holy shit, it all connects. Holy shit. Oh my god, Once I might have had a populace to govern, but they're all gone now. I'm a princess of nothing but name only. A monarch without any subjects. Don't you think that's sad? I know I do. It's so woefully lonely. If she feels lonely, then why has she been systematically slaughtering all of her domestics? Does that make a look of sense? Perhaps not to you. Gently, the princess caresses your cheek. But I shouldn't just judge you too harshly. As much as I like you, dear one, you're a commoner. Perhaps you can't understand the intricacies of my thoughts. Privately, you had doubt that anybody would be able to understand the intricacies of the princess' thought process. That was because it is unreasonable. You don't have to say that, though. Instead, you ask her the only question you can think to ask, with your weary throat, which is sore from shouting. Why? Why, you ask? The princess blinks. That's because I don't want you to believe me, of course. Everybody else leaves sooner or later, whether they have pledge their allegiance to me or not. That's simply the way of the world. People are fickle and they're inconsistent, even to me, a monarch. That's why I decided to eat my servants. I had no choice, you see. It was the only way to ensure that they would never leave me. When you think about it, they should be grateful that I would demean myself so, to consume their flesh and blood. I'm a magnanimous ruler, you see, and I treat all my subjects equally. I love every single one of you. And naturally, I love you too. You've been so awfully nice to me. And you're very pretty alongside it. If you were a plain, ugly girl, perhaps I would not shower you with affection quite as intense as this. But you capture my heart. I think you're lovely. So I bestow upon you the highest honor I can conceive of. I want your body to mix with mine. Then we can stay together forever and ever. Princess leans in. You feel her soft, silken hair brushing against your cheek. You can feel, too, the warm breath of her breath as it goes against your skin. It's cold in the dungeon, but the princess' close proximity is perverse, though it might sound something of a comfort. Her eyes are wide and her lips are so red. Her smile, meanwhile, is so sweet. I've been doing my best to fill the role that fate has dictated for me, but really, Princess exhales. Her eyes, which are boring into yours, are like two dark charms. Finally, you think you can see in the lowering black of light the lack of anything in the princess's gaze, some degree of humanity. It gets so lonely here. That's the fourth time. You already had your say of that line. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. I love this. But this brief flicker of understanding which passes between the pair of you is soon cut short. Princess dips her head. She parts her lips, which are red as the petals of a carnivorous flower. You feel Princess' breath against your neck. It's warm in the icy chill of the dungeon, and you shudder from it. For a few moments, you think that this overturn for Princess could be romantic in a way, but this too comes with a swift, merciless close. Princess' mouth is on your neck. Princess, at least it'll be a quick death, and like, blink to the neck is pretty quick. It won't be that long. Princess, got the chilling noises in the background. Princess's teeth, sharp as needles, are in your flesh. Princess is draining your blood. She's slurping on a great greedy gobbets. Like a hungry animal, one who cannot truly comprehend the harm it is causing. Even as Princess sups on you, her arms twine around your waist to find you cannot take her. She's far too unworldly. You're sure, as your conscience begins to fade, that Princess was being sincere when she spoke of her love for her past servants. This is simply the way the Princess expresses the great love of hers, a love which is so very abundant, it borders on the monstrous. It is a love you never thought that you would ever experience. This love of Princess eclipses anything you've ever known before. It eclipses sanity. It eclipses reason. It eclipses all notions you might have once thought of right or wrong. The Princess, as you know, full well, did not care about such concepts. You have always possessed a stubborn core, nestled beneath your weak-willed exterior, but that Princess is even more stubborner than you are. In the face of her love, you have met your match. The Princess draws back, desperately, you gasp for air, but she does not give you any quarter. As before, she dips her head, red lips dread her, still with your blood, then splits open her jaw. Her teeth, which are impossibly inhumanly sharp, glint wickedly like knives. Then she tears out your throat. The front of your nightgown was a white one. Now it is red. There's so much blood you can smell it when you inhale, sharper than metal. It's so potent that you can taste it in your tongue. You try to inhale, but this task proves beyond you. Both the twin perforations that have ruptured your skin. Your tempted breasts, which escaped your lips, sound sad, sorry wheezes. Your whole body, meanwhile, feels as though it's on fire. You make for quite the sorry sight indeed. But you'll forgive me, my sympathy is limited. You did bring yourself to disappoint yourself, you know. You reap what you sow, and in your case, you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and rest in your peace, or will you try to fight against it? For the third time, here we go. Fight. That's a good answer, I must admit. I like it. It's impressive how very defiant you can be, even in a situation that's discomforting as this. Now, try not to cry. Keep your chin up. This is but a minor setback in your story. Like all fair maidens, you're deserving of your own happy ending. You need only the strength to try and seek it out. Why don't we give this another go? Just try not to ensnare the hearts of any more monarchs, particularly those with unusual appetites. You are destined for far higher purposes than being an entree, and there are vastly more enjoyable ways to be eaten in this world. Your fate is once again in your hands. Now, I wonder, which path will you take? Give up. Oh. Well, before I go with this ending, I guess we'll go and see the full ending of all these. Accept your fate. That's a bit of an anticlimactic answer at this juncture in your life story, but I suppose it would be remiss of me to lecture you so much. I'm sure you're well aware of what a terrible series of decisions you have made. Oh yeah, and the memory too also was saying like, oh, like, where is everyone? Everyone seems to be gone. Yeah, now we know it really was the plague. But where did our girl come from? Is this like just a bad isekai adventure? There's no need for me to billboard to the point. That'll be boorish, not to mention just tedious. I'm rather tired of scolding you. So instead, I think I'll content myself with loving you. What? You thought in death that mermaid was the only one who will be able to consent you? I know I've said this before, but you are naive. You cannot escape me, even if you are at the bottom of the deepest, darkest ocean. The Roman have forsaken you, but I never will. I will never leave you. But you feel distinctly waterlogged. You will never be lonely again. Oh, man. Well, that's one. I have been loving this. It's been so great. I'm so glad to be playing this. Well, number 2, being buried alive. Very well then, enjoy your eternal slumber. I suppose it's a good night for now, but it's not goodbye. You cannot escape from me, even if you are buried deep beneath the earth. Where there is will, there is a way. And even if the whole world has forsaken you, I never will. I will never leave you. You will never be lonely again. Just that? Alright. I gotta say though, out of all these routes so far, as horrible it would be to have your throat bitten and ripped out, I think I would prefer the princess's route out of all these. Like, as opposed to you drowning and being buried alive, being eaten alive by the princess was at least the quickest way out. So, if I'm gonna face one of those ends, it might as well be this one. What? Really? You're finally being eaten alive in the dark, dingy dungeon, then being left to rot? That does not sound like the very satisfying ending to this particular narrative. But if that's what you want, then so be it. I don't mind indulging you. That is what I have always done, after all, from the moment we first met. I dedicated myself entirely to answering your wishes, and this is no different. Don't be so foolish to think, though, that you can escape from me, even if your life's blood has misaligned with that of the princess's. I'm not going to relinquish my hold upon you that easily. I did pledge, after all, to remain by your side, come what will, fire or flood. I will never leave you. You'll never be lonely again. That leaves one more route. Possibly what's gonna be the saddest route. The route to give up. So, you come back here, have you? That doesn't come as much of a surprise. Though presented with 3 potential paths, it's not as though you traversing any of them would have any particular impact on your ultimate fate. In the end, you're always destined to return here. Did you really think that you had a choice? How hopelessly naive you are. I thought that you were smarter than that. Your breath, which has once escaped your lips in sharp, ragged gasps, is now on the verge of petering out altogether. Your lungs feel deflated, as though they have never been punctured. Your blood is rushing through your temples in a heady, overwhelming surge. Your stomach, meanwhile, has twisted itself up in knots. Your body feels heavy, your legs particularly. They no longer wish to obey you. You take a stumbling, deep step forwards, and your foot gets caught in a tree root. You're certain that passed this route once again already. You're certain that you passed this route once already, and that you sidestepped it. But perhaps your memory is beginning to fail you, just like the rest of your body. You gasp, surprised, and pinch forward, dull and sensitive like a sack full of potatoes. Your arms hit the ground with a crack. A moment makes you cry out in pain. Tears begin to bead on your eyes, wet and salty. Tears which you cannot time. You are not as resilient as the gravedigger, nor as carefree as the princess. If you lived underwater like the mermaid, then nobody at the very least would be able to tell you that you're crying. But you do not, and I can. Believe me, I can. Your arm aches dreadfully, but at least you can still feel it. Your poor feet, meanwhile, have gone quite numb. You would try to stand, had you the energy, but you know as you sit there dazed that this is to be a futile effort. You cannot stand, not any longer. It hurts too much. You really have been through a lot tonight, haven't you? I fear I've been not been very kind to you. You think, maybe a little bit? I don't know, like maybe. But you ought to be accustomed to hardship. Why then, are you crying? You always have been a crybaby. That is why they treat you as so much, tease you so much. It's because they knew that you'd be guaranteed a reaction. You're very predictable. Even now, after you tried to borrow my power for your own purposes, you've not changed at all. As you sit there sobbing, you hear, or you think you hear, footsteps approaching you. There, to your right, is a snapping of a twig. To your left, the telltale rust of leaves. Your every sense feels razor sharp, honed to a nice point by anxiety. You're so panicked you feel as though you're going to be sick. If you want to vomit, then why not? There's no shame in it. There's nobody here to judge you. Nobody but me. I have always been here. You know, I will always be here, no matter how fast you try to run, or how far. Did you really think you could escape me? Poor sweet child. Poor little fool. I did tell you, did I not? A contract with the witch is binding. No metaphysical distance between the both of us could ever sever it. A witch, huh? So that's what this is all about. I told you I would never let you be lonely, and I meant it. But I have had rather enough of these little games. It's time for me to collect my collateral. Oh, hello. Honestly, not bad looking. You're not too bad looking. A soft gas escapes your throat as you feel arms wind their way around your back. Naturally, you know whose arms they are. They're mine. I've been watching you all night. This is the first time I've reached you out in so direct a manner. But hey, we're both wearing witch hats, you know. I like witches. Witches are cool. Maybe it won't be so bad, you know. As opposed to being drowned, eaten alive, or buried alive. Maybe this won't be so bad, like, you know. Did you not expect it to be so forward? I can hear your heart fluttering in your chest. It's beating very quickly, like a startled little rabbit's. Your breaths are short and sharp. It's a cold night, and though I am holding you, you're still shaking. I wish you not tremble so. Everybody fears the unknown, but we are not strangers. We have spoken before, have we not? When you first called me forth from the ether, using that book you found in the library. You were desperate enough to turn to the occult for help. You pleaded with me to use my magic for your behalf. You begged me. You implored and you entreated and you wheeled and you whined, and though I had some reservations, you forced my hand. I had no choice, not in the face of your desperation. You do not want to be lonely anymore. You wanted to have a friend, somebody who would always be there before you, no matter what. You wanted somebody to love you. Is that not what you demanded of me? Is that not what I have given to you? You might think me wicked, but I think you are being awfully cruel to yourself to run from me after I made all your wishes come true. I did think after punishing you for running away from me. I thought of poking out your eyes so that you might not ever see anybody other than me. I thought of cutting off your long, lovely hair so that nobody might ever think you're beautiful but me. I thought of breaking your legs so that you might never be able to escape from me. I turned all these intriguing ideas over in my mind, but I am a merciful witch. Though you hurt me, I do not wish to hurt you. You asked, after all, that I love you, and that is what I did. I have drowned you in my love. I have buried you deep in my love. I have swallowed you with my love. You have always been a sad, lonely girl, one who has been starved for affection. Nobody has ever cared for you. Your life has been barren, empty wasteland, one devoid of any fonder feelings. That's why I had to drown you, you see? That's why I had to bury you. It's why I had to swallow you. In the end, I was doing you a favor. I was doing it all for you. In that sense, you are very lucky, do you know that? There are very few people in the world who have the privilege of being loved to the brink of insanity quite as many times in one night. There are few people in the world who can claim to have been loved by a witch. They have experienced so much love, it ought to have slackened even your unquenchable thirst. You know now what it feels like to be adored. I have more than upheld my end of the bargain. Now, I think it's time that you do the same. For this night forth, you and I will always be together. Then I shall be able to love you endlessly. You will never be lonely again. If that's the ending, that seems to be the best route. Like, honestly, sure, the witch put us through the witch put us through all those, like, horrible deaths and whatnot, but, you know, that wasn't so bad. Like, it could have been much worse. Like, sure, she put us through all this, but... Oh, is this a locked one still? Well, that should be, like, one of the witch is there. But it's not, that wasn't really so bad. Like, how bad could it be to have a witch love you? Like, to love you to the point of, I don't know, putting you through this night, and because you ran away, like, why did you run away, like, from a witch? Like, you got what you wanted, did you not? Did you not get the wish you wanted, exactly? That doesn't really seem so bad, you know? It really doesn't. Like, really, how bad... Ah, Renpy. I remember that name. I remember I thought back for a long time ago about making my own visual novels. Maybe I could do that one day. Just for the fun of it. But yeah, this was a great game. This was super fun. This was so much fun to explore. What do you got here? Notes. Hello everyone, this is Evie. Thank you for taking the time to read it. It Gets So Lonely here. I hope it was an enjoyable experience. It was very enjoyable. Thank you very much for A very fun Halloween night for me. I usually leave notes in my visual novels to explain what inspired me. So I guess I'll do that now. The biggest inspiration behind It Gets So Lonely Here was the two-part novel series, the Orphan Tales by Catherine Valenti, and the Orphan Tales. The Orphan Tales are an extreme interesting couple of novels which take a lot of cues from fairy tales and folklore across the world. These stories contain dragons, witches, and werewolves, and genies and mermaids. Genies and mermaids, but they aren't very told in a very linear fashion. The Orphan Tales itself is pulling a lot in terms of structure from IOI or 1001 Nights, because the story is broken up into a lot of smaller bite-sized stories, which are set in a framing narrative. These bite-sized stories seem to unrelated at first, but they eventually converge by the end of the second novel, and it's revealed that the framing narrative itself is steeped in as much magic in the story's narrator, which there are numerous narrators where we're spinning. Yeah, I can definitely see that part. Definitely having it all come together with one little reigning narrator. Very cool. It is a very interesting series which is told in a very non-conventional manner, with lots of stories running into other stories, seemingly jumbled and jumping between stories, but side characters from previous tales offering their perspective and assuming narrative roles in their future tales. The narrative can be quite a bit difficult to keep track of in the beginning, because it hops around a lot between a lot of different characters, who are all embarking upon fantastical adventures of their own, but seeing all of them seemingly disparate threads merge was very satisfying. Kind of like the Avenger movies, you know, up to Infinity War. It's kind of like how it was. All the stories separately together, but then coming all together in one big clash. I also love stories like that, like, totally, so maybe I'll actually check out this Orphan Tales story. I've obviously not read a book like that before. It took a lot of well-known fairy tales and some lesser-known fairy tales and did something unique with them. It's all very well avant-garde. In any case, I like the Orphan Tales enough that I want to write something similar. I thought it would be fun to craft a story of my own comprised of multiple different fairy tales, all wrapped up in a framing narrative. I turned this idea over in my head for about 2-3 years, but didn't have any concrete ideas, so I wound up shelving it. It's not until 2023 Yonder Game Jam that I decided to revisit the idea. I was doing a bit of brainstorming, jotting down random concepts for a story which could work, and decided I wanted to write a Yandere story with a fairy tale vibe. I had a few disparate ideas, but nothing which felt like substantial enough to carry a whole narrative. I was also torn between writing the Princess story or the Gravedigger story as standalone narratives. I liked both of them conceptually, but they seemed a bit too simple. Then it struck me, when I combined these two ideas, like Catherine Valenti did in the Orphan Tales, and build a narrative around them. I thought this would be a fun project to work on, and it would be especially suitable for the visual novel medium. The Orphan Tales. The Orphan Tales is a novel, so the reader doesn't have any say in what the fairy tales they visit as they read through the text. Well, unless the said reader does decide to flip around random pages like a fighting fantasy novel, which wouldn't be a bad way to experience a book, which was written in a deliberately disjointed way? ? So the reader gets pulled in through a lot of seemingly unrelated stories at random until the things have to come together. Visual novels are known for having routes, however, and even though most generic bishoges, people expect multiple stories when reading visual novels, and it's a fairly common phenomenon for characters to get a spotlight in their own route, but being sidelined or in some extreme cases disappear from the narrative altogether in other characters' routes. Yeah, I've seen a few visual novels like that, where they focus so much on just getting like the one girl or whoever you want to pair up with, they just sort of forget everything else, and they sort of really just go to the sidelines and not important anymore. By writing this fairy tale pastiche as a visual novel, I figured it would feel more natural to section these short stories I had into other self-contained routes, which only converge once you read all of them. I was pretty excited about the idea, but I only had these two stories to hand: the Princess story and the Gravedigger story. I thought having only two routes would feel rather meager, so I had to add a third route, and third story, into the mix that of the mermaids. The Gravedigger story and the Princess story were both pulled from the ideas I've been turning over for a while already. I might revisit the Princess story at some point, and make a longer visual novel with a similar premise someday. But the mermaid story was one I thought of mostly to make up numbers for the project. Nothing wrong with that. Definitely something you need a little filler every now and then. As such, I think the mermaid story feels a little less inspired than the Gravedigger and the Princesses, and it also features the least dialogue between the main character and the so-called love interest. I think the mermaid's route is the weakest story, narratively speaking, but I do like the aesthetics of her story a lot. I think her character design is very pretty, and I think she would wind up being the most appealing character of theme song. Plus, since I committed to the fairy tale theme, I really did want to write a love interest who wasn't a human. I thought it'd be a bit boring to have a fairy tale theme visual novel when all three roots deal with the human girls, so the mermaid's existence brings a bit more magic into the story. I designed these three characters' routes to be relatively short on purpose. Firstly, because this visual novel was created for a game jam, and I didn't want to overburden myself with writing these three long, complex routes in a month. But hey, for this being made for a game jam and within a month, this is like incredibly good. And, like, props to you, creator. Like, that's incredible work. And secondly, because I wanted the story to feel vague, unfixed, and ethereal. It was this desire that resulted in the main character not having any direct dialogue. The details of her past being so sparse and fragmented, and it's also why none of the characters have names. I want the characters to feel more like fairy tale archetypes rather than, well, characters, which is why they get referred to by their roles in the story as opposed to names. Princess remains the princess, and the mermaid is the mermaid, and the gravedigger is, well, gravediggers aren't a common character archetype in fairy tales at all, are they? At least I don't think I've encountered any who have had prominent roles. I guess she's a bit of an outlier then. Her character and her design were mostly inspired by Gray from Lord L. Malloy's Case Files 1. LOL. But she's cute, so it's okay, right? Right? Hey, she was cute. And she had a very sad story, too. Being the sole survivor of a whole plague. A very good story for the Gravedigger. Well, I also decided to write this story in second person, which is something I only done once before, and sparingly in once on a one-step night. I don't write in second person very much, since it's an unusual method of storytelling in general, but I thought it would add to the overall atmosphere of the story. Having a faceless narrator address you as you feels a bit more unsettling, I think, than the first, second, third person narration, which are more standard. Though I suppose by the end of the story, the narrator isn't so faceless after all. I mean, hey, I like the look of the witch. She's pretty fine. Since the narrator is a character in her own right, and she does occasionally offer her own thoughts and remarks upon the events in the story, will that not make her the narrator first person instead? I wonder. The use of second-person narration was also inspired in part by Slay the Princess Slay the Princess. That's a game I've heard about a lot. A lot of good things about that game, which is a visual with a rather unusual presentation, which I enjoyed a lot. I just pulled some inspiration from Optimal Conditions for a sacrifice by Mosinasi, which is a looping narrative, like the one present in Gets So Lonely here. A lot of meta elements and very beautiful artwork. Mosinasi actually agreed to work with me on the art for Gets So Lonely here, which made me even more excited about the project. I think her art is gorgeous, and it really captures the fairy tale aesthetic I was going for. I'm really very honored that she agreed to work with me here. Yeah, the art was very pretty to look at. It really did feel like absolutely felt like a picture book. Very good. Very good. I could probably say more things about the story, but that's enough for now. Once again, I hope you enjoyed your time spent with it. Though if you check the art gallery, isn't there a picture that's still unlocked? I wonder why that could be. Maybe we should go through the story again. You might find something that'll surprise you. Well, if you so clearly say so. Guess we're not done yet. Right. Alright then, if we got one more route, let's give it a go. We're running through a forest. Oh. But this shouldn't come as a surprise to you. You've been here before, haven't you? It's begun to feel like you've been running for a long time. But the sun, despite the overwhelming weariness which assails your legs, has yet to rise. Why, on order, could that be? You're sure as you run that you have seen this all already. You have seen this fractal pattern of the moon's milky glow as it spills on the uneven forest floor, and the trees which jut out from the earth like an eerie monument of the foreign god. You have seen wicked brambles which sought to ensnare you, and I might add, succeeded. The tree roots, hooked like the choppy fingers of witches far older than I, which thought to trip you. You have cut your feet, You have torn your skirt, you have taken numerous paths, yet they all ended in failure. Once again, you had hope. Now it is gone. You had already given in to me. So why are you still running? Silly girl, did you really think you could escape from me, after all I had subjected you to already? There's no use trying to escape from my embrace, and if I may be so bold, I'm hurt that you would even attempt it. Were you not happy with me? I was happy with you. But no matter, you're a stubborn little chit, and perhaps you think that things will be different this time around. This is why you begin to run. I can see, despite the fear in your eyes, that your resolve has not been burnt out. Not just yet. A spark that still remains, a spark that I mean to extinguish for good. It's pointless, you know, trying to escape from a witch's curse. In this forest of phantasmagoria, constructed from my own powers, I am a creator goddess, Mother Earth, if you will. It does not matter how quickly you run, trampling tall grass and the loose weeds and ugly spotted mushrooms underfoot. I still have you right where I want you, in the palm of my hand. I'll not let you go with that. I'll not let you get away with that easily. But, very well. If you insist on playing this little game, then I will indulge you. I will play along. We can do this all over again. Now, where were we? Oh, yes. You're still running through the forest. It is late at night, and the sky is pitch black as pitch. There's nothing but light, save for the way the moon's milky glow. But its rays cannot reach you, not properly. The trees which surround you, jutting out from the earth like eerie monuments of a foreign god, are blocking most of the light. I didn't think it was a bit weird, though, that bit of dialogue there, of the monument to a foreign god. I feel like taking that very literally here. You cannot see where you're going. If you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, though, with the light of the sound to aid you, it would be of little use. You don't know where you're going. You have no map, no route, no plan. You're running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind, none beyond the almost overwhelming impetuous to escape. You don't let yourself get caught, though it is too late, I suppose, for that. You have no choice, therefore, to keep going on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You run and you run and you run until at long last you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Well, 4 if you can count the path down they came. You cannot exactly double back on yourself, though why would you? You put all that effort into, after all, into running forwards, not just once or twice. I thought you meant to confront me. How can you when you are so very afraid? I can hear your teeth chattering, you know. I can sense your legs trembling. Your fear rolls off you in waves and more potent than any perfume. Your anxiety is still truly staggering. It's no wonder really how you're able to keep putting on one foot out in front of the other. You'll keep putting your feet in front of the other, though, no matter which decision you make. You will not turn back. How could you? You're far too cowardly. Now, the 3 paths are signposted as well, you know, which would be a strange sight, given you are so deep in the forest. But you ought to be used to strange sights by now. It's dark, that does not matter. You ought to see the signpost before, and you know full well where each path will lead you. I would say that your fate is in your hands, but you and I both know that is incorrect. Your fate is, as always, been mine to manipulate. Must we really go through this rigmarole again? You won't discover anything new, you know. The mermaid, the gravedigger, the princess will not deviate from their scripts in which I have already been prepared for them. I do not, in all honesty, think to furnish any further responses for them. I don't think you would be seeing them again. But no matter. If this is what you want, I shall provide for you. Go ahead. Throw your life away. Again and again and again. Be drowned by love. Be buried by love. Be consumed by love. Then, when you have enough of no longer stand, submit yourself once again to my embrace. And let yourself experience the love as precious few humans have ever had the misfortune of experiencing. Huh, they really let us go, not just going straight to the end? Well, let's just see what happens. Just speed through it. Yep, it's all the same stuff. Fight. As Marco, this is the second time you've been pulled beneath the ocean's surface. I would have thought you would have wanted to give up by now. But no matter. You really are stubborn. I cannot promise a better fate than this awaits you. Regardless of what you might choose, I am still willing to indulge you. Let's go back to the beginning once again. Your fate's in your hands. This is what you once thought. You and I both know, however, that is not the case. Now that you belong to me. How much longer can you keep resisting, though? I cannot wait to find out. I didn't say at the option, but that's fine. Seems to not really matter here. I'm sure it'd be the same. Right. My, this is certainly unexpected. I'd rather thought after everything you had been subjected to, you would no longer wish to continue this farce. I was truly fully prepared to forfeit yourself, at long last in my loving embrace. I'm ready to embrace you, should you desire it, and cradle you with my unassailable affection. But it seems you are not ready to submit. Not quite yet. Being buried alive twice over has not been enough to diminish your determination. You still wish to fight against me, as if you had any hope of succeeding. Your efforts are all futile, do you know that? I'm far, far stronger than a skinny human like yourself could ever begin to contemplate. You would be better served if you just gave in. But perhaps I not love you effusively enough. Not just yet. If you are to learn anything, I must first beat into your thick skull of yours. Will you listen to me then? I only want what is best for you, you know. Hurting you hurts me too. But if that's what you want, so be it. Let's go back to the beginning once again. Your fate is in your hands. At least that's what you think. You and I both know, however, that this was never the case. You still belong to me, and I'll never let you forget that. Now continue to struggle. Do your very best. It'll not work. But it should be entertaining, if nothing else. Alright, back to the castle. Yeah, take a moment to hydrate. Ouch. Oh, you wish to keep going, do you? That's impressive, given this is the second time you've been devoured so heartily. Of all the demises you have experienced, this one is the most gruesome. If you had tried to be, if you had tired of these repetitions, I would understand. I'm not the wicked witch you might think I am, and I would be willing to show you mercy, should you want it. But I can tell you do not want it. Goodness me, you're stubborn. Why, I ask you, do you continue to fight? There's no escape for you, you know. I'll never let you leave, no matter how you struggle. But, very well, let's go back to the beginning once again. Your fate is in your hands. Or so I once told you. You ought to know by now, however, that this was never truly the case. You still belong to me. I'm not going to let you get away from me. Not that easily. You can struggle as much as you want, but it'll be in vain. Does not matter where you go. I will always find you. I can promise you that much. Give up. There, you see? Are you happy now? I told you there's no use in your repeating this night, yet you failed to listen. You have been drowned, buried, and consumed once more, and for what? Do you feel as though you haven't made any progress in your attempt to escape from me? Once again, you find yourself at the end of your last foray into my forest full of nightmares. You're kneeling upon the ground, your feet aching, perhaps you're bleeding, your skirt's tattered and torn. You try to inhale, but it hurts. It feels as though your lungs have been punctured by a pair of embroidery scissors. When you swallow, you can taste salt upon your tongue. You blink, but it's so very dark in these woods you feel you cannot see. There's a heavy laden weight upon your shoulders. It is somebody shoving soil upon you. Your body's cold as though you've been sapped of all warmth. Your blood, which ought to flow through your veins, feels as though it is frozen. That, or it has purged from your body altogether in a rust-red gobbets. Have you not had enough of this now, silly thing? I'm saying this for your sake, you know, just as much as I am for mine. Though I might have trapped you here, though I might have trapped you hence, I did it only because I care for you. I only want you to realize the folly of your ways. Now, cease your foolish attempts to escape. They will accomplish nothing save stretching your mind beyond its limitations. It's already, I fear, been stretched thin already. Humans are not designed to die, not as incessantly as you have. One death will be enough to finish most of your kind off, if you have endured 6 of them. You don't have to go through that again, do you? Then do not run from me. Let me console you. Let me embrace you. Let me love you. What do you say to that? Oh? ... Cat got your tongue, Well, no matter. You will not need your tongue to speak while we are together. It's an unnecessary appendage. However much you might wish, one day, to whisper sweet nothings to me. I'm an all-powerful witch after all, and I can hear all your thoughts. I know what you're thinking. Ho ho ho. Yes, that is right. Silence is golden, as they say. You don't need to speak. You don't need to blink. You don't even need to breathe. Now that you are finally mine, I'll cut off your tongue and I will pluck out your pretty little eyes. And I will... No. Oh? I beg your pardon? What was that, dear one? Oh? Look at here. I've said no. I'm not your dear one. I never wanted this. What, you would still defy me even after all you have endured? Were success not enough for you? You gluttonous girl, do you wish for more? I just wished for a friend. I didn't want to be lonely, but you ensnared me. You tricked me. Well, I never. What bold accusations? They're not true, though, you know. They're bold-faced lies. I did not nothing of the sort. My name might be begin in a similar fashion, but I'm no Mephistopheles. I was very upfront when we first met. I said if you wish to make a contract with me, it will cost you. It is your own fault that you did not listen. You accepted my terms, and now you're paying the price. Now, if you'll come with me, my dear... I'm not your dear! Really now, this has all become rather tiresome. I must insist that you cease this childish outburst at once, or else... Or else what? Will you cut off my tongue? Or will you pluck my eyes out? You already stole my name, but it's coming back to me. What? No, that should be impossible. You gave your name to me. You gave me your soul to me. You pledged your heart and body to me. And now I want them back. I'm tired of these games too. Medea. You remembered my name? I do now. You're called Medea, and no, stop it. I'm called Rosette. Can't be. I knew you're stubborn, but I learned how to be stubborn. I'm used to being bullied. You're just like the others. I'm not afraid of you anymore. You took everything from me, and now I'm taking it back. No, you can't. Rosette, please, don't go. Don't leave me. We've made a contract, you and I. You said that you wanted a friend, and I promised to be that friend. I promised that I would always be there for you. Do you really mean to abandon me? That was the general idea. And what about me? What was I supposed to do? You? You can rot for all I care. What? No, Rosette! I clapped to you, retreating back, but you not heed my words. You not turn your head. Once it was you who knelt in the dirt, your clothes tattered and torn, your dignity alongside it. You're so vulnerable then. And you're so very, very beautiful. In a perverse way, however, I think you might look even more beautiful now that you're walking away from me. That's the thing humans say, is it not? You never realize just how much you value something until you no longer have it. It does not hold true in my case, however. I knew you were precious fine when you first summoned me. Your fight determination, even in the face of extreme hardship, endeared you to me. I thought you were very noble, really. How you had survived for so long in the environment which was so hostile. For a human, I thought you were remarkable. That's why I decided to form a contract with you. I thought with a human like you at my side, my own life of empty, endless wandering might be not to be so lonely. Goodness me, I'm actually going sentimental in my old age. Now you're not the one upon the ground. It is I. I could keep calling for you, but I know you'll do no good. You will not turn your back to me now. Not when I have caused you so much suffering. I don't mean to hurt you so, though. I truly did love you, albeit in my own way. In the end, however, I suppose the love of which was too much even for you to endure. Now there's nothing but the milky moonlight and the trees just out of the earth about me. They look like monuments built in the honor of a foreign god. They look like nothing from the world you knew, Rosette. Because they are not of your world. They are of mine. Now you have fled from me, like a bird let loose from its cage. I fear I'll never see you again. I'll be on my own in this forest for all eternity. Or until another silly girl with stars in her eyes and dreams in her heart summons me once more. It's happened a handful of times in the past. It might one day happen again. Until that day, however, I will lie here among the foliage, in the fog, and I will close my eyes. I'll let myself dream. And enrobed in the undulating mist, I shall think to myself, it gets so lonely here. Oh my god, that was so good! Oh my gosh, that was incredible! I absolutely love that! That was so good start to finish, like, oh my gosh. Oh my god, it's incredible. Oh my god, I'm in love with in love with that. That was so good. Man. God, that was so freaking good. I love this so much. I'm so happy to have just found this so randomly, late night, just last minute search for a Halloween special. God, this was it. This was so good. Oh, I love this so much.